What is up and welcome back to the Maths Guide. Today we're going to look at how to find the circumference of a circle when given the radius or the diameter. Let's jump into it. Okay, first let's look at our little formula then for calculating the circumference of a circle. And we can see that we have two. We have 2 pi r and we have pi d. So let's see why we need two and what they basically mean. So if we look at the first example, we can see that we are given the value of the radius being the measurement from the center of the circle to the outside where it joins the circumference. So if we are given the radius, then we would use 2 pi r, because what we're saying essentially is that we need 2 radius multiplied by pi. Whereas if we look at example number 3, we can see that we're not given the radius, we're given the full diameter, which is the longest chord across the center of the circle. So when we're given the diameter, we don't need to do 2 times radius because the diameter is already 2 times the radius. So we can simply just do pi d, pi times diameter. But what is pi? So we can see pi is a very important part of our formula, and pi can be defined as the ratio between the circumference and the diameter. Now there are lots of videos and lots of information that go way further into what pi is and how it's measured. We're not going to focus on that today. We're going to focus on how we use pi to calculate the circumference of a circle. So let's begin with example number 1. In example number 1, we can see that we've been given the radius. So I'm going to use the formula for the radius, 2 pi r. Now I always like to start by putting my formula, so 2 pi r, and now I can start to input any information I know. So what I'm doing is 2 times pi times r, which in this case is 3 centimeters, so multiplied by 3. Now we can begin to calculate it, and we have two options. Our first option is to simply just input pi on our calculator, on our mathematical calculator, using the pi symbol, which is by far the easiest way to do it because pi is actually a number with many decimal numbers. So to get the most accurate answer, you're going to want to use the pi function on your calculator. But if you don't have a calculator, you could use its abbreviated form of saying pi equals 3.14. That's quite a commonly accepted abbreviation of pi. But in this case, I'm going to use a calculator. So I'm doing 2 pi multiplied by 3, and I get an answer of 18.85. So the circumference for this first circle is 18.85. Let's not forget our units, centimeters. Second example, again we're given the radius, so I'm going to continue to use this radius formula, and I'll have 2 pi r, but this time r is 6 centimeters, so I have 2 pi times 6. Now I can input that into my calculator, and I have 2 pi times 6, and that leaves me with an answer of 37.7. And again, not forgetting my units, centimeters. Okay, let's have a look at the third example. Now this time we're given the diameter, not the radius. So now I can use the formula for diameter, which is just pi d. And let's just explain that again. The reason we don't need to do 2r is because the diameter is automatically 2r, because this section is the same measurement as this section. So therefore this would be the radius, and this would be the radius, or simplified to 2r, which equals the diameter. So 2r equals d. So when I'm given the full measurement of d, I don't need to think about 2r. So I'm going to use the formula for diameter, which is pi d, input it onto my calculator, pi times 9 in this case, and I get an answer of 28.27. Let's see if we could use the formula for radius with this third example, but understanding that our diameter is 9 centimeters, so therefore our radius must be 4.5 centimeters. So now let's do it with the radius formula, 2 pi r, or 2 pi times 4.5, and I get exactly the same answer, 28.27. So it's just about understanding that radius is actually exactly half of diameter, So it doesn't really matter which one we use as long as we're using the correct measurement for the radius or diameter. Let's have a final look at question 4. I'm going to use the diameter formula, pi d, or pi times 15. And pi times 15 equals 47.12 centimeters. Let's look at what to remember. We can calculate the circumference if we have the radius or the diameter. The formula for the radius is 2 pi r. The formula for diameter is pi d. And pi is the ratio, not ration, between the circumference and the diameter. Okay, hopefully this video has been helpful for you. If it has, think about subscribing or sharing this video with someone that you think would benefit from understanding this as well. But for now, I'm going to see you in another video, guys. Peace out.